believe she stole my engagement ring and pawned it.
I wouldn't steal from you, bro. We're sisters.
When I found you at 1 a.m., you were drunk.
That doesn't work.
We are suing these crooks here for neglect and abandonment.
We're not crooks. We're on disability. They took advantage of us. Shut up.
Excuse me?
Who said excuse me?
I'll say excuse me.
There's no one here to stop me.
Oh, yes,
Go
there
for it.
is.
Kyra Patterson says her ex-bridesmaid stole her engagement ring and pawned it to get money to party with. Defendant, Navy Langi, says she would never do that to her best friend and is deeply hurt by the accusation that she's a thief.
Case number 114 on the docket.
Okay, we have the plaintiff, Miss Patterson. You are suing your former best friend for $5,000 for stealing her engagement ring. What's that about?
The defendant, Navy, is my former bridesmaid and best friend.
Yes.
And I believe she stole my engagement ring and pawned it.
Ma'am, have a seat. Have a seat, ma'am.
Okay.
Kai, you know I would never steal. I'm not that person. I wouldn't steal from you, bro. We're sisters.
So on the day, it was a Tuesday, I had an early shift at work, and I got off and I asked Navy if she could take me to track practice. I was very tired and I didn't want to drive, so she took me in my car. When she dropped me off, I asked if she could hold my ring because I do track and field,
yes.
And my hammer glove, it would get caught inside the hammer glove. I didn't feel comfortable leaving it at our college apartment ever. I never really took it off at home, so I asked if she could hold it. She dropped me off at exactly 4. She was there at 5 p.m. to pick me up when we got back to the apartment. I took a shower. She started getting ready when I asked her if she could grab my ring, and she said it was left in the car. And she never came back upstairs. She went downstairs to grab my ring. She never came back upstairs. I woke up to a text message at 1 o'clock in the morning saying that she had lost my ring and that she was sorry. She was going to pay me back. She wasn't sure what happened to it. The next day, I went to file a police report. And afterwards, I was calling pawn shops and looking around for it. And afterwards, I saw on her Snapchat that she had been out hanging out at a party or something with a lot of people, and that she had been driving drunk in my car.
I felt bad.
And why were you partying? Why were you recording videos, hanging out with your family?
I was depressed and I turned to alcohol.
Why were you doing
I know
that
it's bad.
then?
I know it's bad. Everybody knows that being an alcoholic, you know, like, you're not supposed to, like, drink, you know? You're not supposed to turn that way, but that's what I did.
In your video, you were laughing, like you didn't even feel bad.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think happened to the ring?
I connected it to my keychain, because I've never lost my keys. I was like, you know what? I put it in my pocket and then dropped her off. It was in my pocket, went back to the shop that I usually chill at, and then waited till it was time to pick her up. I'm guessing, so when I picked her up, I dropped her off, and she was like, oh, you have my ring? I was like, yeah. Checked my pocket, it wasn't there. I was like thinking, oh, maybe I dropped it in the car. I'm thinking when you get in the car, you know how sometimes like you're dropping, maybe it like fell out while I'm getting in the car.
If it was on your keychain, how did you start the car?
No, it's her keys. I have my own keys.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Can I just add that when...
And who are you?
I'm Navy's best friend. I used to be best friends with Kyra as well, her former...
And your name?
Michael?
Yeah, okay.
You go to track practice. Why in the first place would you even take your ring to practice knowing that it's going to get caught underneath your ring? Leave it in your room.
It didn't have a solid lock. I didn't feel comfortable.
But you leave everything else. You leave everything else in your room. Why not leave it in your room? Like, I don't understand why you would take it out to practice and to begin with. Like, it's an engagement ring. Don't even, nonetheless, even give it to anybody to begin with.
This isn't even her business. She's not even in it at all.
It doesn't matter if it's my business. Maybe it's my best friend.
That's why you're here,
because it's not your life situation.
But it's not your business.
It's affecting
your life situation. It's my life.
You shouldn't have took your ring to begin with.
Ma'am, judge is speaking now, ma'am.
All right. Was the ring insured?
It was not. I had just gotten it. Less than 3 weeks.
This is an engagement ring?
It's my engagement ring, yes.
Is that the ring?
Yeah, that's my engagement ring.
And he didn't have it insured?
No, not yet. I had just gotten it a few weeks before, and we had discussed getting it that Friday. So it was a Tuesday. We discussed getting it that Friday.
You guys were best friends for how long?
2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
2 years.
I can't believe that you ever thought that this would be a person who would steal your ring and pawn it and whatever. I mean, who does that with a best friend?
Like, you know, that's not my character, bro.
Okay, what is believable is that she lost it. This stealing it, this pawning it on both sides. I think this is a case where you were best friends.
Well, sir,
that
she betrayed me.
I know you're a good person, but right now what you're doing, you know that.
Man.
You know that. We're sisters, Kai. We're sisters.
Man, you have to refrain from
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
What I did, because Navy's my best friend, I see her almost every day. What I did for her was that I went to jewelry stores around the area and I asked about the ring. Because I myself, even though we fell out on bad terms, when she came to practice one day looking for her ring, I went up to her and I hugged her and I said, I heard what happened. I will help you look for it.
That's very nice of you, but you didn't lose the engagement ring. And she would have told me immediately at 5:15 when you went downstairs. And if it was really lost, I could have found it. My engagement ring. You know how important that was to me. Why didn't you tell me? You're calling Michael, you're calling Dee, you're calling whoever else. They have nothing to do with it. I don't even understand why she's here.
I have the opportunity to find it myself before you can even know. I'm gonna take that chance because
you didn't take
I looked
that
right after.
because you were you were far away. You were 30 miles away. What were you gonna do there? If you told me, even if you would have told me immediately, I could have been looking. If you were gonna go do your own thing, you weren't looking because I saw your video.
When I left to Ontario, I came right back. I looked. That's why I called you. I texted you at 1 a.m. What do you think I was doing?
You texted when I found you at 1 a.m. You were drunk. You were.
I was not drunk. I was not drunk.
Why was there an empty? Why was there an empty alcohol container in my car?
I've given no more. You are young women that were best friends and are really ticked off at each other. You're ticked off because you lost your engagement ring, and you're ticked off because a former best friend who had asked you to be in the bridesmaid is accusing you of doing bad things other than being careless. There is no question in my mind that you were careless. Somebody gives you an engagement ring.
She could have said no.
Do you have a receipt for?
No.
So all we know, she could be making up the price.
Ma'am, you can have a seat.
Okay.
Please, thank you. He said he didn't feel like he was ever going to return it or that he would ever need to resell it, so he didn't keep track of it.
Knowing that you were coming to court today, even yesterday, you could have called the store where you bought it, where he bought it. And if this is a $13,000 ring, there is a record there of the day it was bought, the specific ring, the value of the ring. Why couldn't you bring that to court with you? Because they will have the record of who they sold that ring to. And then we can see, first of all, if it's a $13,000 ring, you're asking me to judge how much that ring costs, and looking at a picture,
I found similar rings online.
See, that doesn't work. This part doesn't have to be a debate. You could have walked in here and said, the ring was purchased by your fiance on this date in this store. The ring costs this much. This is the value of the ring. The store has all that information. Yes. Instead of saying, it's a fake ring, somebody pointed all this. We could know that. Even if I saw it in person, how am I going to know what a ring costs? Because you didn't come here with the clear evidence of what it's worth to enable this court to make a decision. So no one went in this to commit a crime. I'm going to penalize you somewhat, because when it's an engagement ring from your best friend, you got to just not slam it in your pocket, put it on your ring, and lose it. That's not just could you hold my pen. And so I'm going to fine for the plaintiff $500.
I want her to know that her irresponsibility really affects those around her and their futures and their dreams as well.
You know, just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained an enemy. I still, I wish we didn't have to come this way. I'm sorry for my carelessness, but I swear, I will always love you, but I know that we can't be in each other's lives, and I'm sorry it had to turn out this way. I really am.
Plaintiffs Doris and Guy Burnett say they tried to help out a family that was facing hard times, but wound up getting conned instead. The defendants claim they're the ones who got conned, and their desperate situation made them easy victims.
This is case number 154 on the docket. Burnett versus Long and Robinson.
Okay, thank you, and welcome to all of you here. Let's see what we have. We have the plaintiffs, Mr. and Mrs. Burnett, and you are suing the defendants, John Long and Erica Robinson, for $5,000 for car payments and damage.
Well, as you said, we are suing these crooks here for damaging our vehicle, neglect, and abandonment. We had recently moved into a small town in Pittsfield, New Hampshire.
Yes.
And we were new, so we logged into the Facebook community page for the town. Once we got onto the community website, we had started seeing posts by Erica that they were desperately in need of food, that they didn't even have food for their children and for their cat. So I contacted her through the site and I said I'd be willing to bring you food, and she gave me her address. And when I got there, she wasn't necessarily there, but her neighbor was out, and so I left everything on her doorstep, but I didn't see any kids. I didn't see even a cat.
Okay, we'll get to the van.
Yeah. Then they continued posting that they needed rides. Jonathan then asked me if he could give me a ride, that he desperately needs to get kids to doctor's appointments and he didn't have a vehicle. And I offered to bring him wherever he needed to go. But every time I would contact him, or when he'd contact me for a ride, and I would tell him, well, I could do it at this time, he would bail on me. So then one day, after it was numerous times, he started telling me his problem, that he makes decent money, he's a tow truck driver, but nobody will finance him a car because he doesn't have good credit. So I said, look, we have an additional car that's sitting in our driveway. It's a newer van, fully loaded. I said, we're still making payments on this vehicle. It's $400 a month, but I would be willing to lease it to you with the option to purchase. If you could take over the payments, we would be happy, to let you have the car. It had a brand new transmission put in it. It had brand new tires from Firestone, which I have all the evidence of.
Okay, if we could see that evidence.
The transmission.
These are all the maintenance records from Toyota showing the new transmission being put in.
The transmission was replaced in the vehicle.
60,000 miles before you gave it to me.
The transmission was
new.
replaced at 22,000 miles and change.
Yep.
The vehicle only has 54,000 miles right now, so 60,000 miles doesn't even come close to what's on
Really?
there.
It only has 54? It has 172,000
Sorry,
miles.
it has
Thank you very much.
154,000 on it. When the tires were replaced at 41,000.
We have the mileage on the
Okay.
contract.
Okay, whoa. Okay, so you had this van.
So we had this van. He was so appreciative that we were going to do this deal.
Until the
He's
way you
like, I
guys treated
really
us."
need to have this right away because I need to be able to get around. And we said, okay, but first you have to get insurance in your name, and you're going to have to list us as the additional insured because it's financed.
Which is not
and
required by law.
Toyota
Okay.
will not allow you to do that without us being on there as the
I'm gonna
additional
give you a
insured.
chance.
No,
I'm
hold
gonna-
on. They're saying Toyota.
No, I'm not
will
going to
allow
do that.
that.
I'll
sir.
give you a chance in a
They're
moment.
speaking.
I want her side, then I'm going to hear
You're
yours.
lying.
He'll give you your chance when your chance is ready.
So we got documentation from Geico showing that they did their part on that, which
And
is
that's why I
great.
switched insurance
He
companies.
paid
You're
us
interrupting again.
He paid us $400. So we signed the contract as is.
Can I see the contract?
We
signed as
stipulated
is?
everything in the contract, and then he took the car. First 3 months, he made the payments on time, and then all of a sudden, we didn't get a payment.
So I didn't give him $300.
There you are, Judge.
And Your Honor, while you're looking at that, can I point in that they handwritten, typed my information out, but handwritten all of
That is
Erica's.
a lie. That was
Erica's all handwritten.
You
That
did
is a
handwrite
lie.
my name
The
in,
day
and
it was
Erica
signed,
was
the day
there.
I signed it, it was all
Okay,
handwritten.
let me hear from you.
On their own post, her own husband broke the driver's side rear slider.
that is
I'm
that
the
is
one.
not true.
You live in my town. I don't
It's
live in
your
yours.
town.
Yeah.
We're not crooks. We're on disability. They took advantage of us, made us make a car payment, charged us more than what the car payment was.
Here's what I want to know, the basic facts. You leased a van from them, is that
was
correct?
against the law on their part because they have it financed. Hold on. They have it financed
Don't
through Toyota.
tell me to hold on.
Sorry, I just want to finish my statement. They have it financed through Toyota Financial. In the financial agreement with Toyota, you're not allowed to sublease to anybody while you're still making payments. They did that.
So the agreement was under the lease that you would pay them $400 a month for each month that you had the vehicle, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did.
When did it stop and why?
Because the transmission went, and then when you lease a vehicle in the state of New Hampshire, you're not
Okay.
required for any major repairs to do with the drivetrain.
You said in your complaint, you said they paid you for October, November, December, and January. In February, we did not receive a payment.
That's when the transmission broke, Your Honor.
Okay. We finally got in contact with him through social media and demanded the minivan back. John said that he didn't have the money and that Erica had got into an accident driving it.
The service manager said this was the most abused vehicle he's seen in 30 years. And he said it looks like they were spinning the tires to the point it was like they said they were plowing or towing things with our vehicle.
Where is that report?
And this is from the service manager.
I wanted to confirm with you that the 2011 Sienna bearing, whatever, had significant damage to it. During diagnosis, we found the right front tire had small cuts indicating it was spun, and also noted the tire is worn more than the other tires. We found the right front inner axle boot is torn open, allowing grease to leak out and dirt to enter the joint. The windshield is broken, and we also found damage to the front bumper skin and passenger front fender liner. Okay. What we know, whether it was an accident.
They know what happened to the windshield because I talked to them about it.
Honestly, I do not know.
I talked to him personally.
No,
while he was
What
at
is
work.
it? Tell me, I don't know.
I slid when we had to stop and hit the brakes quick because someone cut us off. I offered to pay for the windshield already.
Can I just say, these people have been scamming so many people. They don't even have children.
I don't. I have two sons. Hold on, stop.
Now to speak
Children
up. She's bringing up my kids that
I
were
know.
adopted.
That were adopted.
Be quiet. Okay, now
Then
everyone
tell her to
just
keep my
stop
kids
it.
out of her mouth.
They're not talking, man.
This is
We'll
what
take.
they've
We'll.
been doing.
Okay, I don't want to hear any more
No,
about it. I
sir, you
understand
hold
that
on.
was
The judge
wrong.
is speaking.
No,
The
everyone.
judge is
They've been doing
speaking,
it.
sir.
I know.
Stop talking.
Online about this.
I know.
Why you
Everyone
telling me-
settle
Sir,
down.
stop
Because
talking.
I'm the judge. That's why I'm telling you.
I'll walk out.
Good. And I'll make a judgment.
I don't care.
This is a court of law, all right? It was out of line when you start talking about the children. I don't want to hear about that. They have a right to be upset. Now just stop it. This is not character assassination here. There are only two questions. There is a lease and whether money is still owed on that lease, and there is who is responsible to pay for the damages. Those are the legal questions before
May I
this
speak
court.
now?
Yes.
They didn't repossess it.
They
I gave it
abandoned
back.
it.
No.
It's still in the shop.
Ma'am, let me finish.
Shut up.
Excuse me?
I brought it to a. Don't say excuse me and me.
I'll say excuse
There's
me.
no
as
one
well,
here to
okay.
stop me.
Oh, yes,
Go
there
for it.
is.
Go
All right.
for it, big man.
Well, listen, he's not letting me
I
explain
find
it.
I don't care. You don't
Excuse me,
threaten
you
people in
called
this
me
courtroom.
and said the
Hang on,
vehicle
I
doesn't
called
belong
you.
here.
So they
I
can
had
run
to-
their mouth.
Relax, relax.
Get out of this court right now.
I will. Come meet me somewhere, bitch. Oh, I'll meet them.
I want to make a judgment based on the case, not on the temper tantrum or his misbehavior. The evidence that has been submitted to me, the lease. If you didn't have to pay the rest of the lease when a car gets repossessed, there'd be no point in having a lease. Whenever the lessee didn't want to pay anymore, it just leaves the car off. So the defendants owe for the entire length of the lease. On the question of damages, the contract clearly states that the vehicle shall be returned in the same manner or better condition. Damage to the van, which is in excess of $4,000, I fine for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000.
Thank you.
It just goes to show that the court system works. And it also goes to show that you can't screw everybody over constantly your entire life, which is what Jonathan has done.